Hey guys, welcome back to the channel this week. If you missed us last week, well,
we had the stomach flu.
Allie brought the stomach flu home to us, so
Yep.
didn't feel like making a video last week. So this week we're going to touch on some favorite Florida RV destinations. These are some very popular destinations here in Florida for tourism, and we thought we would take a look at some of the state parks that are near these destinations, because you know we like state park camping.
So we also decided to choose spots that are spread out all over Florida.
We're going to start up in the Panhandle, and we're going to start with Pensacola. And there's a couple other.
And work our way all the way to Key West.
We did skip Panama City. That is a popular destination and a tourist destination here in Florida, but we're only going to look at the state parks that we've actually stayed at.
Except for one, being Bahia Honda.
But we have actually gone to that state park, so we kind of snuck that one in there. But there are a couple good state parks that are near Panama City, Florida, being St. Andrews State Park. There's also Topsail, which is close to Destin, Florida. Those are very touristy areas too. On our bucket list, we just haven't stayed there yet. So this week we're going to look at the state parks we've stayed at near some of Florida's best tourist destinations.
All right, let's get started.
First up, we're taking a look at Big Lagoon State Park, and this is in Pensacola, Florida. Now, Pensacola, Florida is up in the Panhandle, and it is near the Alabama state line. And Big Lagoon State Park is a pretty good size campground. It's one big loop with a few cutovers in between. I would say most of the sites here are big rig friendly. We've stayed here a couple times, once with the White Hawk and once with our new Jayco Eagle HT, which is 35.5 feet long. And we had no issues getting into our site. There are some sites that are obviously smaller, as in all state parks, but I think overall you probably wouldn't have a hard time finding a site here to accommodate a larger rig. Now, when we were there, a few of the trails were closed off due to some hurricane damage, but there were a few boardwalks that were open, and there's some pretty good hiking here. One of the fun things to do if you are staying at Big Lagoon State Park and you are staying in Pensacola is to go on over and check out the Florida-Bama state line. You can literally stand in Alabama and Florida at the same time, which is pretty cool. Be sure and do yourself a favor and check out the Florida-Bama bar if you are staying here. It's not that far of a drive, and part of the bar was built on the Alabama side, part of the bar was built on the Florida side. One was a dry county, one was not. So back in the day, you could only drink on one side of the bar. Now, this particular time we were here, it was a Sunday morning. It hadn't really got hopping yet, but we actually did go back on our second trip, and it was quite packed. Now, moving down the state to the town of Clermont and the state park, Lake Louisa. Now, Lake Louisa State Park is only probably about 15 to 20 minutes or so from Disney World, which makes a good option if you're wanting to visit Disney World and you want to stay at a state park. This is probably your best option that we know of. All the sites are big rig friendly. There are a few pull-through sites, which makes it nice. We have to say that this state park has one of the most beautiful drives back to the campground. It is about 3 miles from the park office and the ranger station back to the campground, if memory serves. But the drive is full of rolling hills and is just one of the most beautiful drives in a state park that we know of. There's also some good paddleboarding and canoeing, kayaking here. Just beware of the alligators. All right, heading east from our last stay in Clermont, we are now at Tomoka State Park. This is in Ormond Beach, Florida. Now, Ormond Beach is very close to Daytona Beach. Now, we've stayed there a couple times as well, and I will say we have not stayed there since we've had our new Jayco Eagle. And I'm not so sure some of these sites are big rig friendly, so make sure if you do book a site, double check and make sure your rig will fit, because it did seem like there was a lot of tight sights there. But if you do stay at Tomoka State Park, know this, that there is a lot of cool, interesting history that you can learn here at this park to do with the Native Americans here in Florida and the tribes that inhabited the area. And obviously Daytona Beach is a very popular tourist destination here in Florida. Some really great beaches here, home of Bike Week and Biketoberfest, and let's not forget the Daytona 500. That's a pretty big event that happens here in Daytona. And there's also the band shell that is here near the beach, where they provide a lot of free concerts. I've actually played there with our Motley Crue tribute a couple times, and we have a show coming up this June. Okay, so leaving Daytona, we're heading south, and we're heading over to the west coast to the town of Thonotosassa and Hillsboro River State Park, which is basically near Tampa, and also Ybor City, two popular destinations here in Florida. And actually not that far across the bridge is St. Petersburg, Florida as well. Now this campground is quite large, and it has two different loops. Most sites I think you could probably fit a big rig in, honestly, but you just have to kind of watch with some of the overhanging trees. Some of the trees are kind of close to the opening where you back in, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. This is one of our favorite state parks for some hiking here in Florida. It has a very cool suspension bridge and quite a few trails. It's also known for having some of the only Class 2 rapids in Florida. They also do have a huge public swimming pool that is open between the months of March and November. So we have actually not seen it open when we've been there. So now we're heading south, and we're heading to one of our favorite places, the Florida Keys. First stop, John Pennekamp State Park is in Key Largo, Florida. It's in the Upper Keys. The campground itself is not much to look at. It's basically kind of just a parking lot, and you're very close to your neighbor. Most sites, I would say, all probably could accommodate big rigs, but the real reason you want to stay here is for the scuba diving and the snorkeling. There is also some really good restaurants here and some really good key lime pie. Moving farther on down the Keys is Hammock State Park in Marathon, Florida. Smallish sized campground, but we absolutely love this campground. We've stayed here a couple times now. Dark night sky. On a good night, you're going to see the Milky Way. Also, Marathon is known for a lot of great seafood restaurants. There's also Sombrero Beach. That's a pretty good beach for the Keys here near in Marathon. If you're staying at Hammock, make sure and do yourself a favor. If you don't have a kayak or paddleboard, rent one and kayak through the mangrove tunnels. It's really something of an experience that you won't forget. And we also highly recommend the Sunset Grill and Raw Bar in Marathon. Great food and really pretty reasonable prices. Moving down the Keys to Big Pine Key is Bahia State Park, and it is definitely on our bucket list. This is the only one on this current list that we're talking about that we have actually not RV camped at. We did go for the day. From what we understand, the campground here is pretty big rig friendly. We've known a few friends who have stayed here, and we're lucky enough to get sites, and they have big rigs and didn't have any issues getting in. But we did go for the day. We did do some kayaking. We kayaked underneath the old Bahia Bridge, which used to be a train bridge on the lower section, and then they converted the top rail to an automotive bridge later on. And if you're staying at Bahia State Park, that puts you about a half an hour or so from downtown Key West. And it is the closest state park to Key West that you can RV camp at.
So we hope you enjoyed our montage of the different state parks that we shared with you.
hopefully, if you've not stayed at any of these state parks, you might want to put these on your list and let us know, what you think of them.
That's right.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.